Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on the recent World Championship, which happened about an hour ago. So, you know, a lot of controversy, a lot of things to go through. So before we get into my thoughts, I'm going to say a huge shout out to all the guys working on the Brawl Stars game, working on Brawl esports in general, and, you know, this championship 2020. Huge shout out to all the people, you know, all the devs. You know, you got Frank, you got Danny, you've got Ryan, all these amazing people working on the actual Brawl Stars game. And then you've got all these amazing talents on Brawl esports, you know, the likes of Falcone, Ark, Woody, Trid, you know, Frankie, the host, all the people working behind the scenes on Brawl esports. A huge shout out to them. You know, they put on an amazing show, even with really bad circumstances. You know, COVID, it's been a horrible year for a lot of people. And, you know, even with these circumstances, as I said, they've managed to do amazing things. So, you know, before you guys, you know, blame Supercell, you know, for all this delay, you know, it's near enough none of their fault. They couldn't have predicted anything like this, and a show just had to happen, and it happened really well. So big shout out to them. Without further ado, let's go into it. All right, guys, so going into this game now. So currently PSG are 2-0 up and 2-0 up in this set as well. So yes, I didn't really want to show too much gameplay in terms of this semi-final, just because, you know, delay was a huge impact. I was definitely feeling sorry for SK. You know, one team had to get delay, unfortunately. You know, you've got the PSG team, they're from Asia and around the Singapore area. So it's just near enough like a coin flip to who's going to get the servers. So in terms of connection as well, Frank tweeted out around 50 to 75 ping for the PSG team, and then above 150 ping for SK. So, you know, in relative terms, it's basically impossible for SK to do anything in these scenarios. So, you know, just for that reason, I just thought it wouldn't be fair to really show all of them games, or, you know, really talk too much about the broader choices or how they played, because, you know, they really couldn't help with the delay. You know, as a player, I completely understand, you know, having played with delay on a bunch of different tournaments, you know, on ladder, you know, all these different things, testing it out in private matches, you know, against all these different players. I can really understand how they're feeling, and it's kind of sad to see, you know, a lot of times in Twitch chat and YouTube chat, you know, people just don't understand, you know, the circumstances these players are in. So as I said, you know, big props to both sets of players. You know, they're really good on social media, you know, and really humble. You know, the current situation, you can't really blame anyone for this. All tried the hardest, you know. Even SK, you know, I watched the Siege game, I think it was second set. You know, you can still watch these games, you know, they're still really well broadcasted by everyone on the Brawl esports side of things. But even on Siege, you know, with the delay that SK had, you know, Sky played a really good gene, some really close matches. We actually nearly won a few games on delay. So big props to SK. But PSG coming out the victors 3-0 in this one. So that was the first semi-final. Let's hop into the second semi-final. All right, guys, so going into the second semi-final, we have Tribe versus Int. So Tribe, in terms of server delay, actually had, I think it was around 125 to 150 ping, and then Int had 50 to around 75. So in terms of Brawl and how this impact things on a competitive setting, and the Tribe are at a huge disadvantage again. And I spoke to the Tribe guys, you know, straight away after the game, and their delay was like really bad. Probably the worst I've experienced against Ints. You know, they've scrimmed them against them a few times, and delay, you know, it was bad, but it wasn't too bad. You know, it's kind of, you've got to think of delay with EU against NA. It's kind of that delay, but they said it was one of the worst they've experienced. And then Ints on Twitter, you know, they said, you know, delay wasn't really bad on their side of things. So, you know, you've got to give a huge shout out to Tribe. They even managed to win a set on delay, which, you know, is really hard. And in the gameplay, you know, I was in VC with a lot of people, and, you know, most of them were saying, you know, we thought that Tribe didn't even have delay because of how well we're playing under these circumstances. You know, huge shout out to them. But in terms of like power ranking as well, you know, before the tournament started, and if this was on a LAN, you know, all connection things, everything all equal, it's probably, you know, you're looking at the second worst team, you know, in the game. You know, still big shout out to them. You know, they're still a really good team, and you can't take anything away from them. You know, on a day, they could still beat any other team. But, you know, in terms of power ranking, you would say, you know, across like all pros, and even like in the Brazilian community themselves, you know, they'll probably agree that they're, you know, the biggest underdogs in the tournament other than Nova China. So, you know, even them getting this far, you know, big shout out to them. But, you know, as I said, it's just really unfortunate that a tournament like this is going to have to be settled on delay itself, because, you know, when there's two teams this good at the game, you know, really good pro players, connection has a huge effect on things, you know. It's just hard, it's hard to explain about the gameplay when there's so much effect in it, but you know, Ince managed to take this one. I keep saying it, you know. But yeah, Ince gonna be taking this one, so looking like it's gonna be an Ince PSG final. You know, from the start I said PSG would win it overall, so let's go ahead and see who takes the crown. Alright guys, so going into the final game of the World Finals. So again, I feel like it wouldn't do too much justice, you know, if I watched every single game and give you my live thoughts, just because, again, as a pro player, I really understand what these guys are going through. And in terms of delay, you know, it's near enough an impossible task for Ince to really do literally anything. So in terms of ping, PSG had around 100 ping, so that's still really bad for them. But Ince, you know, they had like a 250 ping, so literally impossible for them to do anything. And I remember in we got a group chat with Coop. You know, I'm really good friends with Coop from PSG. He's really good friends with like a bunch of EU pros, and you know, we said if it ever gets to a scenario where you're on championship points, you have to bring out the PSG Shelly. You know, PSG Shelly, one of the best brawlers in the game, and you know, they've got kind of lucky. We actually faced triple tank in this last game, so you know, with delay, you know, tanks are actually pretty good on delay. But when you bring out a Shelly with a gene combination, you just stand at no chance. So big shout out to PSG. They're one of the strongest teams coming into this, so you know, before, even without delay and you know, these kind of connection issues affecting all of the competition, I still thought PSG would have probably came out victors. You know, they have a really strong team. We have Coop, who's one of the best mid players in the game, really good gene. You know, he's really good at so many different brawlers. You've got Response, who's recently joined PSG, but you know, he's been playing for Coop for a very long time. You know, I study these type of teams, and Response is such a good aggro player. His max plays, his plays on all of these other aggro brawlers, you know, insane. You've got Rely, who's been really good, even in the Poland event in March. You know, he was outstanding there. And then you got Scythe, a new player to PSG again, and he's a really good player as well. So PSG, you know, I would say they definitely deserve to win this one for sure. And you couldn't pick a more, you know, gracious team. Every single player on PSG are just really nice, really humble. And even though, you know, they basically knew that one of the main reasons they won this the Worlds was because of delay and connection, and they're still really humble. You know, Coop, as I said, one of the nicest guys you'll meet in the scene, and you guys should definitely follow all of the PSG guys on Twitter and all the social medias. I'll put them all in the description below. You guys should be checking them out. Really nice guys. But that's going to be your new 2020 World Final champions. And as I said, you couldn't pick a team more deserving as these guys. All of them work so hard. You can't take any credit away from these guys. They're going to be getting some exclusive pins in the game as well, so I'm extremely jealous. They're going to take home that massive trophy in the middle there. And that's going to be it for today's video. As I said, I just want to give you guys my thoughts on the World Finals and why, you know, I've not really broke down too many games. As I said, you know, SK Code Magic, they're probably like the only game where, you know, delay connection wasn't going to be the main talking point about these things. But with COVID and the way Brawl Esports went this year, it's really unfortunate how it ended like this. But, you know, still a really amazing year all the way around. And as I said, huge shout out to literally everyone involved, from the pro players to the talent to the devs. Everything's been amazing with the circumstances, and I couldn't ask for a better team overall. And we're looking forward to Brawl, you know, 2021. Hopefully there'll be some lands, and hopefully we will have an actual World Finals next year. That would be pretty OP. And, you know, hopefully we don't have a situation like this again. You know, it's really unfortunate how things have to end. But, you know, all teams are going to be pretty happy. You know, it's the same situation for every single team competing in this. You know, all of them have came away with a lot of money. So big shout out again to all the Brawl team. That's going to be the end of today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. And I'll see you all next time.